The one change that has been, or the one thing that has been added since the original is item number 4, a MISHTA grant payment request. Are there any other changes to the agenda?
Is there any reason why we get the request on the day of the meeting and have it always added?
I'm assuming that's probably when they finish their review. I mean, we can ask them if they can get it to us sooner.
Do we need to approve the agenda in the order it's presented? Because at the last meeting, we were going to have the street department report from Superintendent Kellogg, and then the street committee report together. And then we're going to have the police reports and the police committee, or the public safety.
So you would like to amend the agenda to include street report and street committee and the police report and public safety together?
Right.
Okay.
Because when we're on the subject of the streets, it makes more sense to stay with the streets, and when we're talking about the police and public safety, stay with public safety.
Okay, do you want to make a motion then to that effect?
I make a motion that we accept the agenda as amended to include the street committee after the street department report and the police committee, or the public safety committee after the police report.
Okay, so that is the motion. Is there a second?
I'll support.
Sandy? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then for minutes, there are 3 sets of minutes. The first are from March 21st. We did not approve those last time because they did not include the attachments, which they now do. So are there any changes to the March 21st minutes?
Was anything changed besides the letter we added?
I don't think so. Joe, was anything changed from the 21st? No?
Okay, so that's,
That's what I'm looking to see.
let me see what page.
If there were any other additional changes besides adding the attachment.
I don't think you are.
Myself.
I can be done.
Let's see, March 21. Would it be appropriate to add to the March 21, I've noticed the last 3 sets of minutes, they say so-and-so made a motion and somebody seconded to accept it as amended, but we never say what the amendments are. In this case, the amendment is to attach the attachment. And then the corrected minutes should be provided with the original set.
Where would you add that? I mean, what would happen is tonight's meeting minutes would note that the March 21st minutes were adopted as amended, and it could state them to include.
Right.
Right. But it
But
would
I'm
be,
just
it would be
saying-
tonight's.
I'm saying as we go forward, if you say you accept minutes as amended, And then you have to listen to a tape or watch the videos to find out and revisit what the amendments were to make sure they're correct. They should be cited in the council amended minutes as follows.
Well, again,
Tell you what
they'll
it is.
appear on the minutes from tonight's meeting. I mean, we didn't, yeah, I mean, that's where they'll appear.
Right. But if you read a set of minutes and you say the council approved the minutes as amended, nobody's gonna know what changes were made.
Right, and that's fine. I mean,
But
Julie can
because
add.
in the book, the corrections are not put in the margins,
Right,
and
yeah,
they should be.
Right.
And if they're not, then you need to say what the corrections are.
right, and so on these minutes for this month, Julie can add the words, you know, that the March 21st minutes were amended to include, and then she can specify that it was included.
Well, just that the minutes on March 21 were approved because the attachment was finally attached.
Right, and that can be added to tonight's minutes. So then, if there are no additional changes, is there a motion to accept the March 21st minutes as amended?
I make a motion to accept the March 21st
Okay, Sharon?
meetings as is.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll support.
Okay, Sandy? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and the next meeting minutes are from the April 25th regular meeting.
What about March 28?
We approved
Yeah.
Those were approved?
Yeah.
Except the March 28 minutes say they were approved as amended and the statement is not attached, so they were never fixed. In the book or
what's missing from them?
a statement that I read and asked it to be attached, and there's a motion in the March 28 minutes to attach it.
Okay, do we have it?
You should
I
have.
mean, if we have it, then we'll put it in.
They're in the minute.
They are in the minute book,
Yeah.
okay.
They weren't yesterday.
I can't tell you. All I know is,
We took them out today.
March 28. Okay. Great.
while Joe's getting the minute book.
I'm just doing that.
Okay.
Okay? All right, then on the meeting minutes from April 25th, are there any changes to those minutes? Sorry? April
25%.
25th, yes, the regular meeting.
I make a motion, we approve.
I have one comment before we do this.
Okay, sure.
Okay, back when we had our street department meeting, minutes, there was a motion made by trustee Duran and second by me to approve the dates of March 15th, May 15th through May 20th for spring cleanup.
What
Got
page are you, what page are you on?
They're not, page 4.
Number 25th?
Yes, on the 25th. Now, there's sort of a problem with that, because our ad in the paper said spring cleanup May 15th through 19th. There was no mention of what we talked about and approved for that Saturday, so we need to talk about that.
Okay.
I'd like to know why that wasn't included, because we talked to Main Street, we've done a lot of legwork on this, and it just didn't happen.
Okay.
So should we wait till we get to the streets? to
Yes,
discuss
yeah, that would
Okay.
be perfect.
So that's correct, but it's, yeah, we need to verify more on that.
Okay, so we have, Sandy has made a motion to accept the April 25th meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
George? All right, thanks. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And finally, we have the special meeting from May the 2nd. Are there any changes to those minutes?
Is the new one, are they different?
I don't know, I don't know the reason. David, you have it?
Yeah, right back here.
I'll find that.
Well, it's in the middle basically on it.
No.
After all our bills from,
I don't got
our
it.
expenses from
Oh,
before.
May 2?
May 2.
Where's the new May 2?
Pardon?
Right here.
May 2, this is when Peggy was broken.
George?
Okay.
George?
Yeah, I don't have that one.
Yeah, let me just share.
Under the May 2 minutes, did we have the council vote included since it was a money item? Was that added? I don't see it on the minutes yet.
Okay, yeah, that was a voice vote, I believe, correct?
Yes,
Okay. All right, so that needs to be amended
it
now
would
to include.
amend the May 2nd minutes to, under item number 2, new business, paragraph 1A. A voice vote
Right.
was taken. It was unanimous. So then you'd cite each trustee.
Right, right, yeah,
Okay,
so that
that's
needs to-
being
So
applied.
that needs to be corrected, all right.
And then, let's see, there's something on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5th bullet down on page 2, it said trustee Germain questioned on voting majority and exactly what that means. How many is majority if all council members are present? How many council members are required present and how many majority? If you could just clarify it and say, I questioned which votes require a majority of those present or those that a majority of the total electorate.
Versus when you say electric, you mean the 7-member council, is that what you're referring to?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So the question was, is it a majority of those present? Maybe there's 5 trustees, is 3 of 5 the majority, or is it a majority required of the total electorate, which is 7? So if only 3 are for something, and it's a majority of the electorate, it would not pass. So we need to know, have clarification on that.
Did he provide that at that meeting, or he did?
Yeah, he said it was the majority of the votes with the people present.
But the Michigan Municipal League said different statutes have different voting in it. There's not just one rule that it's only those present, because in our handbook, it sometimes says that it has to be the electorate. It doesn't have every instance. That's why I asked our village attorney if he'd give me a list, and he said he would not. So sometimes it's a majority of those present, and sometimes it's a majority of
And
the total.
I believe the General Law Village Act specifies when you require a majority of
The total
council, right?
It's
right.
when you're spending money, right?
Right, pretty much, yeah, like the budget requires five votes, so.
Well, sometimes it's for hiring positions and too.
Right,
So
right. But it
that's
is
why-
specified in the
Yeah.
general ability.
Okay, but that was the only two things that I noted.
Okay, all right, so just, you need you just want that sentence restated or
Right,
clarified?
because it sounds really money, you know, a majority, you know, now it's a majority of those present or a majority of the total elected.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Then I make a motion that we approve me 2 minutes
as amended,
as amended.
okay, so that's.
And then in the minutes, cite what the 2 amendments are,
Right.
so you don't have to listen to a tape or trust your memory.
All right, so we have a motion to accept the May 2nd meetings. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
George? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we'll move on to petitions from the public, and in accordance with our rules of procedure, we'll recognize people from the public for a 5-minute period. Our clerk will keep the time. I do ask when someone is speaking, do not interrupt them, and again, always be courteous. So tonight, who would like to address the council tonight? We don't usually do that. No. I'm sorry, I can't see who that is. Oh, yeah, is that Jamie?
Yes.
Oh, hi, yes, please.
Actually, this morning, I was probably more fired up. But this afternoon, when I almost broke my leg, I was fired up again. I think that the cleanup every year is marvelous. However, I called before the snow was gone because I knew that yard where I live was full of stuff that the trees knocked down. Okay, at that time, they didn't have a date. They said they had to wait till there was a meeting and it would be in the paper. Okay, I don't know if I missed other notices, but all I found was a 2-inch notice. Was it Friday or Saturday? And I have not been able to get anybody to help me. Well, I found out at PAX on Sunday that there supposedly were going to be volunteers. Yesterday I was at the hospital, I couldn't make phone calls. So I called and called your office, the clerk's office, and they said there was no such thing as a list of volunteers. And so I started calling people that I'd used before. The church in Houghton that helped me last year didn't have anybody for this week. The young man that helped me has moved. So I was left with nobody, so I got the community bus, went to Ace, got both of my broken legs fixed, got home and decided, okay, you can do it. I mean, I cleaned dog poop up on a walker, I could surely pick up leaves and stuff. So the first thing I did was fall badly, and I couldn't do it. So basically I can't do it. But one of the things I thought about is there are a lot of, I feel that older people, handicapped people, aren't wanted here. I mean, there should be a sign at the city limits, don't come in. We do have a marvelous community bus driver now, marvelous. But he goes above and beyond. And it just, I wanted to move here because my parents retired here, my grandparents lived here. But without a car, I might as well not be here. So that was part of it. I'm not going to be able to get, last year I had to call and tell you I couldn't get them out, but I was able to get help. This year I can't get help. Now, I called back this afternoon to find out what time this meeting was going to be because I was so depressed and I thought I had something to say and I really don't. But I called and this is what talking here tonight. I get most of my help from Little Brothers because I have a lot of medical appointments. It was suggested that I call Little Brothers. And that's so wrong. I don't care that you're a volunteer there. That was the reason it was given me, but if they volunteer, if they send volunteers for Calumet, they have to do it for Copper Harbor, for Baraga. You know, there wouldn't be enough volunteers to do that and medical transport. And it's more important that they do medical transport, and we shouldn't ask them or expect them to do anything else. And that's basically what it is. I do think, and the other thing is newspaper. How many people, I only went to that Ellery thing twice, but I don't think there was one person there who got the newspaper. So how do they know there's gonna be a cleanup? And that's about all I got to say.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Would you prefer if we put something in the paper, they put it on the radio as well? I mean, how would you prefer getting your information?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because it only came up today in my mind, but there is that Ellery Center. There are churches. I used to be a stringer for a newspaper in a very small town, Dexter, Michigan. We used to put signs, the council used to put signs in the restaurant that was used, the IGA store. Every place that was something that would affect not only the village of Dexter, but also the surrounding township. That's how they did it. That's 1,000 years ago.
Okay, can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
What is your name?
Jamie, J-A-M-I, Baker.
And where do you live?
I am a house sitter at the corner of 8th and Portland.
8th and Portland. Is that the house that has the fence around it?
No.
No. 8th and Portland.
How
It
big
used
is
to be,
your
George, it used to be, what, Peterlin, the Peterlin
Oh,
house.
Peterlin's house,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The first day that it's not raining, leave me your phone number, I'll come and help clean your yard, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll get that stuff out for you, but you're gonna have to leave me your name and phone number, so I can hook up with you, okay?
Who should I leave it with?
All of us.
All of us, I'll come help you.
Okay.
We all want you to feel loved and welcome to the community.
Yeah, all you gotta do is ask.
Thank you.
Someone will help you. I
There's
volunteer.
a spot in the town for everybody.
Okay, who else wants to? Kate?
That's awesome, Virginia. I was so hoping that because I know Jamie. She's just a sweet lady. So if I had time, I'd get over there and help her myself, but I've been quite busy lately. And I was the friend that had told her about, calling down here to the village because we talked about it in committee meetings and even brought it up in the meeting last week about that. And when she told me that the village told her nothing, that they didn't know anything about it, I was really surprised and disappointed, which leads me to a totally different subject, but thank you anyway, Virginia. The village's policies of waiting until the last minute to post meeting scheduled for the next day. They have 18 hours, so they wait right up until 20 hours, 24 hours, right before the post meeting. That policy, is something they chose of their own accord. Well, it's now led to what is a criminal act. All of us are due equal protection under the law. What happened with not posting this meeting was a violation of the Open Meetings Act. It's punishable as a misdemeanor. All right? I'm bringing this to you, Keith, here in this meeting. This needs to be investigated. I don't expect you to investigate it because you may have a conflict being the chief of police investigating somebody you work with or for. But you should contact the state police about this matter. You'll find it on video. You can talk to me about it. State police can talk to me about it. But it needs to be handled because this has got to stop. This has got to stop. These policies to try to keep information from the public and keep the public from speaking are out of control, and they broke the law this morning. I'm done.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to address the council tonight? Yes.
Are we ever gonna get a website so
Um,
then people know what, so it don't happen again with like the meeting today?
I mean, we need one,
Yeah.
so.
So what happens, I'm confused, this was not posted? Is that what-
No, it was posted, it wasn't out there for 18 hours,
Oh.
so we were not able to hold a meeting.
See, I didn't know that.
So if a meeting is posted the day before on the bulletin board, it really should be posted on the outside door
Correct.
because we locked the vestibule
Right, it's gotta be available continuously.
to have access to it.
Okay.
That's why I asked for a committee meeting if it was also going to be posted on the door. Yeah.
Okay.
We want everybody to see how hard we're working.
All right, so if that's it for people speaking, then we will move on to the department reports. So, Steve, you want to go first?
My report for April is mainly, April was half snow, half repairing potholes. We didn't get a lot done. We ran out of cold patch, but we certainly got about 4.5 tons. So we're getting more because the weight limits were on when we were ordering it. That's about all. We started some of the projects that we're working on now. Because of the trash and the spring cleanup. We're just about done with the sidewalk sweeping. And then, we made the initial town cleanup, getting the majority of the streets swept. And then the machine broke down, I had to fix it, and then it got sold. So now I'm looking at avenues to get a different machine in here to do the final once we get all the sidewalks cleaned. Once that is done, then we should be okay for the streets. Then the next project, and they kind of coincide with each other, will be the line painting. And until I get the streets clean, I'm looking at other avenues. Maybe I can get some of the lines painted without cleaning the entire street, just do where I have to do the lines. I would like, if you've noticed, we've gotten all the trash cans out through the business area and in the park. We've repainted them and repaired them as best as possible. And some of those square cans are going on 25 years old, so they're starting to show their age. But I think we're good for a while yet, as long as we keep an eye on them. One of the other things I would like to express to the council, as myself, you all know of Alan. Alan has volunteered to help my department with the opening and closing and caretaking of the village shelter. This has been a big help for me because there's times that we can't get over there in the mornings, and I don't want to close it at 2:30 in the afternoon. So Al has been going over, opening them in the morning, cleaning them, and then also he was there when we had to replace one of the women's toilets there because it was draining slow and leaking. So it was a quick fix because we had to have it running by Monday. He was a big help. And whenever we supply the materials, and whenever there's a big issue over there, he contacts me. So that's saving my department a lot of time over there, and we're looking at getting some other things fixed as we go. So as for myself, and I hope I speak for the council, I'd like to thank Al for all the work he's done for us. Other than that, we have been working on I've got the preliminary draft for the equipment that's going to be out for auction. What I'm waiting to hear from is our attorney to make sure this document is legal with some of the stuff we're selling. Some of the stuff we're selling may not be roadworthy that can drive out. So I've got to make sure everything's in order for us to sell them. We're selling them as is, no guarantee, no take backs. What I'd like to have done is I'd like to have the bids in the day before our committee meets, and we can look at them and make a recommendation, and then we can take it to the council in June, if so be it. And that would give them plenty of time. If I got it out by the end of the month, it'd give us, 2 weeks, and that's not bad for normal. And they could look at them. What I'm doing to make it easier, because I have so many items, each individual I'm drafting the form that you have to fill out to bid on this stuff, because you can't just go over there and say, yeah, I want this for $500. Each bid is separate, so they'll all be categorized into, each truck will have a bid, the snow will have a bid, all the tires, I got numerous tires I want to get. So each of those items will be bid. So in order for them to bid, they'll have to pick up one of my forms. And it'll be here and at my office. And they'll sign it knowing the liability that exists with some of this equipment. Other than that, I worked a little bit with some of the landowners on some of our property, and I'm not sure, but we may have some interest in that lot up there on North Fifth Street. So I'll keep you posted with that, and maybe we can get that back on the tax roll. I haven't spoke to the gentleman over here working on that, and the person I've got coming in, he's gonna come in tomorrow now, to what the cost is to fix those bricks on that wall. That's a concern. And right now I've got it taped off. Somebody cut the tape the weekend, so we put more tape back up, to not cross. The other thing that I think we need to look at as a village, I've responded to 2 incidents where we have some sidewalks that are kind of unsafe. Granted, our sidewalks aren't the best of shape, but these have holes and they're openings where old stairwells were, and we need to either put some teeth on some of this stuff and say, we'll help you, we'll do whatever we can. We don't have a lot of money, but we need to address these situations. And we need to find out who exactly owns what, and then how do we go about getting these problems reassured. So I'm waiting to hear from, maybe Mr. Tricia can help me with that too, as he's working on these bids for me. And I can just keep you posted as we go. And right now, the best thing I can do is either repair with cold patch, like the situation up on 6th Street last year, or we mark them with safety cones, or I barricade them. But we need to look at this, and we may need to have to put some teeth into some kind of program that we can do to get some of these sidewalks. I think that's it. Do you have any questions for me?
I do.
Okay.
The sidewalk we looked at over where the scaffolding is.
Yep.
Were you able, because I talked to Mr. Snow too, were you able to determine anything, talk to anybody? Because the whole sidewalk is now bowed like this, and they've got wood attached to their building to hold the scaffolding in place, one of the scaffolding legs. The whole is, the metal cover's gone, but now the sidewalk's gone, right? And one of the legs for the scaffolding, and we're talking thousands of pounds of scaffolding, is on boards that are just stacked on top of each other, and it's leaning like this. That thing is gonna go.
Well, and verge, in public buildings, we address
This is a
that.
public sidewalk, though.
Right, but I think in our public buildings thing, we talked about the scaffolding and the need to get it on. So,
Well, it's not just the scaffolding, I'm talking about the sidewalk. The scaffolding has ruined the sidewalk.
yeah, and that could be vaulted sidewalk,
Right, it's bolted down like this, the hole is big, some child or an animal could fall in here, it's dangerous. And then the separate issue, which we're gonna talk about, the metal was just hanging off the building. But the sidewalks, those are our sidewalks, and we need to determine how we're gonna get them fixed and who's gonna pay for them, because in my opinion, and I'm not an engineer and or the building inspector, but we need to get somebody that knows what they're talking about in there
to look at it and determine that that scaffolding ruined that sidewalk. It kind of looks that way when you see it's bowed down like this. And we need to address it because every month this goes on and on and on, and that scaffolding is getting worse and worse and worse. If that decides to let go, it's a major problem. I mean, we can't just keep putting it off till the next month. Now, my understanding is we asked to send a letter to those people about the scaffolding, but no letter was ever sent.
No, that's, yeah, I have talked to Lucy Nakala, and we will, though, the intent, and I don't want to steal your thunder, Sharon, but we're going to recommend that they be sent a letter giving them 30 days to remove the scaffolding from the building.
What about the sidewalk? I'm talking streets right now.
Then we'll have to
Right, that's
take
next.
it out.
I don't know if we have 30 days.
I don't think we
When
have
I went
30
over
days
there
either.
today, I was looking down and I thought, what if something comes down on my head when I'm looking down?
So our street superintendent looked at it with me now. We can get his opinion on this. In my opinion, I look at it as the most dangerous thing imaginable. It's not just a building, it's the sidewalk. It's the sidewalks that we own. I mean, you can't. I mean, the cement is like breaking away more and more. What's your feeling on that, Steve?
Well, Molly, the problem that I have run into, it's not only what's breaking away, but apparently at one time, there was a stairwell going down to a basement with a door.
Right.
And I've seen this on a lot of buildings up here. And a lot of the sidewalks that we have, the one at the Ford garage, is hollow underneath because they used to store coal or what have you down there. So as these things sag and cave in, what's holding them was usually iron or timbers. Well, as they've gotten rotten over the years, and sometimes it can be our equipment on them. That's why we're trying to stay off with the heavier equipment because of the condition of these sidewalks. We had one where we fell through 2 years ago. And it cost us, I don't know, $700 just to fix the doors because they were steel. The best thing is to investigate it, find out if it's an open cavity underneath, then fill it, and then replace the sidewalk. And this one over there completely, at least now the opening for the stairwell going down into that basement, it doesn't look like it's been used in years. And at one time it was all covered with wood, but now it's gotten so rotten, it's caved in. And like you say, he's just kind of rigged something to go across it so he can put one of the feet to the scaffold. That needs to be looked at, because if they get that scaffolding now, we're gonna have that's probably a 6 foot by 4 foot hole right
So
in
it's
that
bigger
side.
than that.
Yeah,
It is.
It's I would say it's more like 10 feet.
yeah, it could, yeah,
So
because
it's
it was a stairwell going down.
Right.
So that needs to be addressed, but like I say, you know what, I'm at a point where I'm not sure where I stand with the authority to say, you gotta fix it, or we've gotta fix it. Either way, as far as I'm concerned, it's gotta be done, one way or another.
I'm calling for, and I talked to Mr. Snow, did you talk to the building inspector and or our engineer? Okay, because we need, this is
Yeah.
like, we need to talk to these people, because we need to have an expert to look at it and say, okay, these thousands of pounds of scaffolding have ruined the sidewalk. Is it dangerous? You know, we need to have them look at it. We can't keep putting it off.
Right.
I mean, it's, I don't know if anybody has looked at it lately, but it is really bad. You
And see,
know,
and that was fairly replaced, I think, back when they did Oak Street sidewalks.
yeah,
So
they're
that was a
down.
fairly new sidewalk, and he must have covered that walk-in with wood, and at the time, that was good enough, apparently, I don't know. But now it needs to be changed.
Right. I don't know if we went down that far.
Oh, okay, I had thought it looked kind of like you
Because
went around
I
the corner.
think they quit on, at the end of Sixth Street here. I don't
Okay.
think they went along with
Okay.
it. But when we start talking sidewalks, and we're gonna have to replace them. Just remember, back all those years ago, all the building owners on Fifth Street had to pay for their own sidewalks. A lot of people could not pay for them right away, which, that's understandable, but it was on their tax rolls for 15 years.
Did they have like a special assessment,
Yes,
and they put it on the tax?
on the tax rolls for 15 years.
And I'd like to, you know, it'd be great if we could get a grant for that. And Joe handed me some information the other day that I'll approach our committee. about getting some state money, but it's mainly due to safety and road preparation for crashes and that, but maybe there's something in there for sidewalks, for bicycles and that.
Well, you know, the problem I have with these sidewalks, it'd be great to get a grant to help build some, build the sidewalks, fix the sidewalks, but this particular sidewalks that we're talking about has had this multi-thousand-pound scaffolding on it for 2 years, okay? And it has basically ruined the sidewalk to the point where there's gaping holes. Like, there's a hydrant, Joe Canyon, you're on the fire department, there's gaping holes, and you've got a hydrant right in the corner. And I don't know where your pipes go exactly, but your fire department guys should probably go over and take a look at that, because if that thing goes, or if there's any damage underneath, you're gonna have a big problem.
Yeah, and last year, we went through this, I think Rob handled it, where he dug in, got permission to hook up water or something into that building. He dug a section out of the sidewalk, or, the street, and they hooked up a new line, and then he filled it back in with rock, and for the longest time, it was just a small square, but then they finally got after him to put blacktop in, and then it was taken care of. But I don't know, we need to look at all the facts, and I think we can address these at each individual situation and see how we can handle that. The sooner the better, because like you say, it's going to be a liability not only for the property owner, but I think, they're being a village, we're one of the first people they write in the lawsuit, so.
Well, we need an expert to tell us
Yeah.
what's going on,
Yeah.
because there are sidewalks, and we've allowed this for so long, and it's
Oh, and now
absolutely
they're
It's
beyond
ridiculous,
repairs.
yeah,
Most
they're-
of the sidewalks are
Yeah.
beyond repairs, we have to start all over.
I mean, everything is a disaster.
All right,
How about spring cleanup, how you doing on that?
so far, we've done pretty good because it has been raining. And we're trying to, we're getting stuff as we go. It's basically, right now, we're down to just a pickup truck because our trucks, we have one truck with a cover, but I'm saving that for spring cleanup because those have to be covered whenever you haul stuff. So we're gonna use that one for the big spring cleanup on Saturday. And then we're gonna put some barricades over there Friday, and we can have them arranged any way you want come Saturday. I think we should be all set.
Another question for you is, I've obtained some yellow tape to go around that area after the event is all over.
Yeah.
Do you have any old, or sawhorses or something that I can attach the?
Yeah, we'll bring, those barricades that I have are the cross members with the line, the poles that go
Because that would be
through.
helpful.
Yeah, we'll bring some of those over and then you can tie them in between.
Okay, great. And I think Peggy's probably gonna talk about that now, right? The
Uh,
ad that's going on the paper and.
Anything else?
The bids, after you come up with the correct legalese to advertise, when you get the bids in, will the committee open the sealed
However
bids?
you'd like to do it.
Or do you want the council to open them
Well,
at a meeting? Which way?
Committee can do it.
Committee
I guess what I would suggest is that we open them as a committee.
Uh-huh.
And then we kind of choose what we're gonna, because I have speculated in there that we have the right to refuse all bids. And we can look at them and then give those recommendations to the council, and then still bring out the bid specs totals,
Okay.
so they can see them. That way I've kind of got that's the way we should do it. Take it to the committee, you guys have, give the recommendations back to the council, and you can give them the specs and show them all the bids. I mean, we're not gonna make a big windfall with this, but it's.
You're getting rid of junk.
It's
That's the
clear
space
up
for
it's
that
gonna
junk.
clear up my parking lot.
Should we have a motion to approve the
Right, street department before we
I
do
mean,
street.
first before the street committee report.
Okay, sure.
I have one more question I'd like to ask you, Steve. What about that crumbling wall that was red garter in? Have you talked to a contractor about that?
I was supposed to meet him today. We
Okay.
set up 2 appointments today, but he got some emergency calls, so tomorrow, I said, when you're free in the morning, you call me and I'll meet you over there. And then that'll at least give us a possibility of where we're at as far as cost. But now, I've heard rumors, and that's what we need to look at, is I've heard rumors, well, that's so-and-so's wall, and that's part of Buckles, but I don't know what the whole truth is, so it needs to be investigated, because there's a light that goes on, a security light, and I think that comes from Buckles. So,
I spoke with him
oh, you
an
did?
hour ago, and he said that the wall belongs to the village, that the red garter had come down, but he, in order to help the village provide security, he pays for that light,
Okay.
and it is on the village wall, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, and see, and that would be another thing, if we get an engineer up here, that would be another thing to look at and say, well, can you tell me if that's a dual wall or if that's a shared wall, and then go from there.
But the bricks look like they could come down any time.
Right, bottom line is we gotta get it fixed, whether, if it's ours, we'll fix it. And I think this gentleman can give us a good price, because he likes to pop with these things. It's not, most of the bigger guys that I've talked to say they don't have time for it. So I think this will work out.
You know, I have one more thing to add about that. That is gonna be our wall, because there probably are two brick walls butted up to each other. That lot was bought through DDA funds, and the DDA is the one that cleaned that up.
Actually, I think that lot is owned by the village. We'll check it out.
It's not owned by the DDA?
I don't think
That
so,
lot
that's
might
the
be
impression I
That
got.
one might be owned by the village? Okay, 'cause, well, my suggestion is, you know, there's plenty of DDA funds. The DDA, and it is downtown, it is white. You know, we should consider using DDA funds.
That would be
for that.
one of the other solutions.
Yes.
If it's our wall, let's get rid of it. You know, I mean, it looks pretty up there, and we'd like to save it, but if it's too expensive, we gotta fix it every couple of years. Is it really worth saving?
Or dangerous, yeah.
Yeah. But I'll get some information from the contractor, and then we can kind of decide.
Are we gonna meet up at all for that Saturday thing? Do you want me to meet you somewhere, or are you just gonna put the stuff there for Saturday and?
Yeah, I
call it a
mean,
day?
yeah, what I may do is I'll put some barricades, and then you've got enough tape, because I've got
I got
tape.
enough tape? I
Okay,
believe I have enough tape, yeah.
and then if you wanna meet me over there Friday afternoon, if you can, I can kinda, what my plan is, and
Okay, we'll set a
I'm
time
over
or
this-
call me or whatever.
say 1 o'clock,
8:10,
noon.
8:10,
how about 8 o'clock? No, o'clock, we stuck at 8:10.
Oh, yeah, that was my next thing. I've got to borrow the township's lift to get that clock off, so that's what I've been holding on.
All right, so what time on Friday?
Say
You tell me.
1 o'clock.
Okay, 1 o'clock Friday, I'll see you over there, and you can tell me where you want this
Yeah,
thing.
just, I'm gonna write it down, but just,
Yeah, I might have to read.
I have to remind myself.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
If there aren't any more questions, then, okay. Peggy, did you make a motion to accept the street department report?
I still believe.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Sharon?
Thank
All
you.
in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, by the way, yesterday was Steve's birthday, so belated happy
Do we
birthday.
have to sing?
Sorry?
The
Do
city
we have to
report-
sing?
No.
Keep your day
I
job.
have a pretty good idea.
I know, but, yeah, keep your day job.
All right, we can have the street committee report, please.
Our committee met on May 10, and we were working on an advertisement for the Gazette, but an ad had already been placed in the paper excluding the Saturday cleanup in the park. But trustee Dwyer has been working with Main Street, coordinating an effort so that there'd be a barbecue luncheon for all the volunteers after.
That's
what
Main Street's doing.
Right, yes, and that's why we want to continue with the Saturday, and our committee drafted an ad. Do you want to read that?
Well, okay, I'll read it. Okay, we want an ad to go in the paper, probably, Thursday should be a good day. We can send it down there tomorrow. What we need is, the ad will read as such: the Village of Calumet Blight Disposal Day, May 20th 2017 for village property owners and residents. Residents should bring their items to the village-owned block behind the Family Dollar Store between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. noon. The village will not accept paint, chemicals, electronics, tires, roofing materials, free-on appliances, batteries, yard waste, or flammable substances. Main Street Calumet will also be having a quote, clean up your town event from 10 to 12. Join the cleanup effort by meeting at Agassiz Park at 10 o'clock. A barbecue lunch will be provided by Pat's IGA for the volunteers. Help clean up your town. If you have any questions, call Steve Kello at his number and the office here at our number. So we're gonna put that in the paper. Sandy and I are both gonna volunteer. We're gonna, the one thing that's not here, Peggy, that should be here is, although we'll check IDs, because we don't have to necessarily put that. We'll have a clipboard, we'll have people sign if they bring things. Steve's gonna give us direction on, where to put the things like that. So hopefully it's a successful day, because this is in conjunction with our new blight ordinance, which when we get to the ordinances, I would like to, I know there's a problem that's come up with the blight. Do you want to talk about that now?
Well, let's wait till we get to ordinances.
Okay, because I would like to have a copy of the blight ordinance, or possibly the proposed blight ordinance, to hand out to people, because this is in conjunction with trying to get your areas cleaned up. So when we get to ordinances, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Have you given a copy to Corinne for the paper?
No, because we wanted the council to approve
Okay.
the Saturday cleanup and the verbiage on the ad, and they just got their packet today.
Right. Although we did approve the Saturday cleanup last
Right.
month.
Okay, so what you need is, I make a motion that we approve the Saturday cleanup and to put the ad in the newspaper.
Should it be
That's
3
stated.
days? Put it in tomorrow, the next day, and the
We
next
can't
day?
have it tomorrow, because the other types are already done.
I thought by noon if they.
2 days.
Oh,
Do
okay,
it.
So
that's
Thursday
fine.
and
So
Friday.
Thursday and Friday, yeah, and you'll get a copy to Joe or to Corinne or somebody?
And it's-
You do
They have a copy already,
Okay.
but they just,
They need to do it, yeah.
Joe, would you place the ad on Friday, Thursday and Friday? Thank you. Okay, the
No,
rest
no.
of the report.
We have a motion, so to approve this, so is there a second?
I second.
Sharon? All right. Okay, if there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And the superintendent reported that he's getting the 3 gasoline dump trucks to sell, the snow go and some miscellaneous tires. He's going to take down the timepiece in the park that's stuck at 8:10. I like to ask people to meet me at 8:10, then I'm never late. And we're going to work with Buckles to see if that's a shared wall and a shared problem and a shared expense, or who's got to do what, but he seemed real friendly and reasonable. He'll work with us, and he was really glad to be able to tell me that he's been paying to light up our world right there. I'd like to make a motion as part of our report to replace the street signage and recommend that we spend up to $2,500 for the new street signs. That's my motion.
Okay, so there's a motion to spend up to $2,500 on replacement street signs.
Yeah, this is our street supervisor's recommendation.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll second that.
Okay, so Peggy and there's a second by Verge. Is there any further discussion?
Do we have to take a vote?
We do, but
Yeah.
I'm just checking if there's any further discussion.
How many will that get us, Steve?
Well, I see,
So get the bulk of the ones.
she couldn't give me an exact number because every sign is printed different because of the lettering.
But that'll get the bulk of the ones.
Yeah, and I think until we decide what we want to do with the downtown district, I'll start on the residential.
Okay.
And I'll try to see if I can get the state to help throw in for Pine Street. Then I'll get rid of 12 signs. So they could maybe pitch in a little bit and that would help us.
I will really be happy to get rid of Pie Street, because I don't make good pies. And, now that I live on Pine Street instead of Pine, it's been
Now-
difficult.
Now, in order to save money, one of the options is, I'm sorry I didn't bring this up before, but, you know, on some of these streets, we have just the letter Fourth, and then Fifth and Sixth Street, some of them are printed out in full names. Do you want, which way do you wanna go, or do you wanna go whatever's printed now, like Fifth Street, and then Sixth, some streets are printed Seventh and Eighth, written out. You wanna just go with, it'd be cheaper with the numeral,
Yeah, numerals.
and then the TH,
Yeah.
okay,
All numerals on the numbers
yes,
and all words written on, so it doesn't
yeah.
look
Like-
like ransom notes.
Eighth and Pine Street, Eighth and Pine, Sixth and Pine. And then the other thing, if we still have enough money for downtown, if they haven't said anything about changing their colors, then we'll do them all like I had showed you. But I'll do the downtown last, depending on where we are with the money. And it's gonna be a slow
And then you would have
process.
to buy that hardware, out of that same
Yeah, I have
dollar amount.
to, yeah, that hardware has to come with it.
And-
And it's not gonna be done, you know, it's gonna be one of these processes where we hit them whenever we can. Because a lot of stuff has to be changed on those old poles.
And the last thing our committee discussed was the properties that we own that we would really like to sell. Maybe we should be putting an ad in the paper, because if we're not using them for the village government, then why are we now concerned about a wall that's falling over on the lot and needing our village engineer to look at it and wasting time and money if we really aren't going to be using it for village needs?
Okay, but before we go on, since we have a motion, we haven't voted on it yet. So there's a motion to spend up to $2,500 on street signs. Because this is an expenditure, it would require a roll call vote. So Jim? Yes. Sandy?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Birch?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So, okay. So, now, anything else?
I think we should figure out what properties we own and then do a block ad, but our committee will look into that.
Okay.
And that because it's got to be organized, and we have not problems with the properties we don't own. Okay.
All right, if there's nothing else, then I would need a motion to accept the street committee report.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, that's Bert, and is there a second? Jim? Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the police department, Keith, I think John is going to speak first, or?
Right, yes, as far as my council report goes, should be fairly self-explanatory. I tried to get rid of some of the acronyms that I had questions last time. Calls of service have increased, almost double from the month prior. And I'd like to introduce Fulton City Police Chief John Donnelly with presentation.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me up here, and I'll try to keep it quick, because I know in the interest of time, I guess through enough of these meetings here. Approximately 2 years ago, we identified that the times had changed in our area. 5 years ago, I used to go to town, and people would say that their cities and that were having a heroin problem, and I always used to joke there's no heroin in Hope. And at that time, there wasn't. I've been a police officer for 24 years now, and for 20 of those years, we didn't have the hardcore drugs that have hit our area of recent. I don't know how much history you guys know about the opiate epidemic that's taken place in this country. For decades, the leading cause of death from 18 to 40-year-olds has always been accidental death, with car accidents leading those. In 2015, that was passed up with overdose deaths, mainly due to opiates. There was a huge push of prescription medication that was put out there by drug companies, and the Oxycontins and the Vicodins and those kind of things have gotten a lot of people addicted. What's happened now that doctors have tightened up, drug dealers have moved in with heroin, and it's cheaper to get heroin on the street now than it is to get morphine and Vicodin. We've had drug trades where we have people coming up here, and, you know, one of their sales hitches is they'll give you your first hit for free, and they'll actually let people start shooting up on their own. Everybody in this room probably has some experience with dealing with some kind of addictions in their life. Everybody gets affected by one way or another, but this is hardcore drugs. We have meth coming up into this area, and we had no way as law enforcement as far as identifying the people that were doing this. I would estimate that 90% of the property crime, of the theft that takes place in this area or anywhere, is always going to go back to people that are looking for drugs. People don't break into your house looking to steal your TV because they want a TV. They're looking at something they can sell. And when houses get broken into now, which we still have a rarity in this area, but what they're usually looking for are where your prescription medication is. It's been epidemic. There are 21 drug teams in Michigan. There's only one in Upper Peninsula. Our nearest drug team was out of Marquette. It was upset, and we were not feeling the love out of Marquette. It would take them 2 hours to come up here and to make one deal, and there wasn't a lot of contact. And as we started getting overrun with complaints on heroin and drug overdoses, we were unable to use those resources. So what we did is we asked the state to form a team, because there's 21 state-funded teams, Upset being one of them. There was an East team that operates out of the Sioux, there's a South team out of Escanaba, and we were considered under the jurisdiction of Marquette. We weren't getting them up here as much as we could. We said we wanted an Upset West team to handle Houghton, Barrett, Onondaga, and Keweenaw counties. The state flat out said, no, we're not going to fund it, and that's where we started. What they wanted was a local buy-in from local departments to put people on the team, and we don't have police departments. I'm sure Keith doesn't have an extra police officer to provide to go on to Upset. Neither the Houghton Police Department, neither the Hancock Police Department, we just didn't have a solution for that. We started making some calls, and the county commissioners came together. They were able to produce one out of the Houghton County Sheriff's Department, just an officer, and the state wanted more than that. So what we did is we compiled a bunch of cities, municipalities, counties, the Porch Health Foundation. I don't know how many people are familiar with that, but it's a foundation to give back to the public. We wrote up a grant there. They gave $120,000 for seed money to get it started so we could get a narcotics team up here. The city of Houghton contributed $20,000, Michigan Tech contributed $20,000, the hospitals, both Aspirus and Portage, they put in $20,000 and put a 3-year pledge to start getting the seed money to fund it. When the Portage Health Foundation put up $120,000 to get us started, they said they wanted that was the startup money, but they wanted it sustained by municipalities and villages so that it could carry it on out. We were able to get enough money that we were able to go back to the state and say, look, we have 2 funded officers here to extend out, and we were able to force Lansing, which is nice when our little area can force Lansing to come on. So when they came on to the tune of about $300,000 a year to put on towards this upset. So we have to do our part of it to be able to support that. And so what my ask here today is I'm going to give you a list of what the other villages have done, from Onondaga to Baraga to the local area, and I'm going to ask that you guys pledge an annual amount moving here forward that we can support this team. This team came up and running in October 1st, was their first official day. Since that time, they've made 31 arrests to drug dealers. Okay, now this isn't the high school kid selling dope to the other high school kid to support his local habit. These are a lot of hardcore heroin addicts or heroin dealers and meth dealers. They have connections where they can take cell phones, they can dump all the information into cell phones, and that links people up. One of the original cases that we had linked back to Escanaba, which all linked back to this one guy in Detroit that was supplying this whole area with heroin. They've seen Narcan. You guys know what Narcan is? That's what we shoot up their nose to save them. When there's a big heroin bust, the use of Narcan and overdoses drop dramatically. When that gets missed and there's heroin on the street, the overdoses are hitting and the Narcan's being used on a regular basis. If a drug dealer actually has somebody overdose on their heroin, guess what happens to the street value of that heroin? It goes up because it's good. It's good stuff. It's being laced with fentanyl. Okay. Ontonagon, Baraga, they're getting hit up hard with the meth. A lot of that was coming out of the Wausau area. When they're doing these cell phone dumps, they're finding direct correlations right back down to the Mexican, the Mexican cartel. So this is big business. So since that got up and running, they were able to make 31 arrests. They have 72 open cases right now. They're right out of the Houghton County area, and they're servicing Calumet, they're servicing Baraga and Ontonagon, but we're getting the majority of that. So that's in one police officer or one department, you can't do narcotics. If I knock on somebody's door and ask to buy drugs, they won't even let me know. Okay, they're not going to sell to me. They're not going to sell to Chief Anderson. Okay, everybody knows us. We don't look. I hope we don't look like drug dealers. Okay, we have some days. Okay, this team has been highly effective. When we called out that one time, there was a bust in Lake Linden, and we also have 27 state troopers up here, okay? Because we can pull on all those resources. So you'll see that a lot of the villages are giving anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 annually, and what that will do is it'll go to support the enforcement level. And just to make it clear, what we try to do is we try to identify the addicts, and we try to get them to help. There's this new Angel program, but if you want to turn yourself in because you're an addict, you can go ahead and turn yourself in, and we'll try to get you the help. But anybody that has ever dealt with anybody with addictions, when do they turn themselves in? When we hold them accountable as law enforcement, or somebody, whether it's a spouse or somebody says we're not dealing with that anymore. That's when people reach out for help. So we take that addict and we try to get them their help. We take that drug dealer that's dealing to support their own habit, which we have a lot of that, and we want to send them to drug court and try to get them some resources where they hopefully break their addiction. But with that person that's bringing that narcotic up here, okay, we don't want to send them to the Houghton County Jail when they're on there. Okay, if we can't send them to state prison, we want to send them to federal prison. Already out of this area, I believe there's already 9 people that are going to federal prison for dealing with narcotics. Okay, and that's huge. We didn't have the level of commitment to do that with our small 8, 9, 10 police departments prior to this upset west. So it's been hugely successful, and that's what our ask is. I am more than willing to answer any questions. I'm also more than willing to talk for an hour and a half at a time, but I don't want to do that to you. I did bring a copy of what the other places had pledged. Okay, so you can have an outline on that, and also I did bring a pledge form. So the ask would be that you guys come up with an annual donation that you're going to get the Upset West team, and the Upset West team will be here to support Chief Anderson and your village here in combating narcotics and in your area.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I moved up here in November. Before that, I was in Hancock for about 2.5 years, and I saw that going on. And I had called police a couple times, and nothing against police, of course. But the thing is that a lot of times as you see people doing that, and they're your neighbors or what have you, and you call, and there's nothing to be done because there's no proof in it. So how does a person who sees that going on, when there's a neighbor or what have you, or they see it right in front of them, call anonymously and...
And that's right where I got my passion from. A couple of things. Number one, I had a neighbor telling me about a drug dealer, and he was telling me about it, and I was like, yeah, we're watching, we'll run their plates. And then he came and he actually dropped off a bunch of sports equipment for my kids because I got a bunch of them. And he's like, here's all this equipment, we're moving out. And I'm like, he's like, you know why we're moving out? And I said, he said, I told you there's a drug dealer, and you haven't done anything about it. We're not going to live in, in this. And I'm like, that is our job as law enforcement to do that, okay? And that was that's one of the things that they did. We also had reports of people coming up here to this area, and we had exactly where they're going, and exactly what they're doing, and they were bringing heroin up here. And we had nobody to come at it because we were, like I said, I knocked on the door, they wouldn't even let me in the door, you know. They knew who I was, they knew I was coming. So that's why the undercover team is so valuable, because what they'll do then is they'll find a person, or they'll go buy drugs in Marquette, and they'll bring the Marquette guys up here to buy the actual drugs here once they establish it. But you cannot safely, you know, we all remember the Lethal Weapon where Mel Gibson's out there all by himself, you know, pulling, okay, that's not real life, okay? You have to have a 4-person team, okay, with a sergeant, even to do a buy, to do it safely, and to get it where it can hold up in court. So what I would recommend then is you would bring that to your local law enforcement and say, can you please get this narcotics thing? But now, we actually have an avenue that we can go to, that we can give it that narcotics thing. And they're usually gonna know it, and they can verify that, but maybe you're seeing some license plates, maybe there's some particular people, you know their names, and we can tie into that and try to get, usually what we do is we try to buy drugs from them undercover, or with undercover agents.
Well, it's nice to hear that there is a team now.
And like I said, there was 5 overdoses in a 2-week period in this area, and I think it resulted in 2 deaths. And a week and a half later, there was some big arrests made, okay? Overdoses stopped. And that's, I think that's, you know, when I talked to Chief Anderson, that's our responsibility as law enforcement, is community safety. We're peacekeepers, and, you know, that's what we need to do. And that's what we're asking for, is your support to help that. You know, and with that support, you know, whatever you pledge, whatever thousands of dollars a month, you're getting, you know, a $500,000 team, you know, with what the state's put into that, so.
Now, are you going into the school systems and talking to the young people?
Yes, and what are we talking about, and which time are we talking about? Because 5 years ago, we were dealing with bath salts, okay, and I don't know if you know that, and then we're dealing with whippets, and then, so we have a direct correlation, and dial helping of this, so they're telling us what you have to watch for. Like they said, it used to be, everybody started, and there's a direct correlation with the first time you sneak a drink, a joint, the younger the ages, the worse it is. But you know, everybody used to worry about their cooler or the fridge, right? Kids are gonna sneak some beers out there. Now it's a medicine cabinet. And not only educating the kids, but how many people here have gotten a bottle of vitamin this big, okay? What do? You throw it out, or do you save it, so the next time you don't have to go to the doctor, because you're too cheap, so you save it in your cupboard, right? Just in case you need it another time, right? Well, you know, who has access to that cupboard, you know? It's a different, so what we do a big educational on senior citizens, because we've had plenty of times, we've had grandmas duped into getting scripts for their children, and they're getting sold on that, you know? And, you know, who here doesn't want to help their kids, you know? So we've been hitting the schools, and we've been hitting them with the correct information of what they should be watching for. But there's also been some community efforts about, you know, trying to get some of that prescription back out there. That opiate problem, back in the day, heroin was in cough syrup, you know, cocaine was in Coca-Cola. History repeats itself. Now we have too many scripts on the street, which are legal. They say 1 in 5 people get addicted to opiates and end up on heroin. Started with the wisdom teeth being pulled out and getting a big bottle right there, you know. So, but yes, we do the we are working on educational, but we don't send undercover guys there.
Go to school.
Yes.
Right. John, if you want to leave that information with Joe.
Yes.
And then he'll get it out to all the trustees.
Okay.
So you're looking for
so
a
much for coming.
pledge. We
Yes.
already did our budget for the year, so our finance committee would have to be looking at, you know, if there can be anything done to amend the budget to help support it, because we certainly support it in principle.
Just so you know, so that's why the Portage Health Foundation went up and put the money up front, is to give villages and townships time to get their budgets amended. So if it doesn't hit this budget, if you can hit it for budgets moving forward, and you can look, and that's why you can outline, you know, how much, you know. And I always felt like Dr. Evil, it's like, I want $1 million. I didn't know what to ask for everybody. We are funding, but we are gonna lose some of that funding because that Portage Health funding, seed money. So if you can't get it till next year, you can't get it till next year. If you can get it to this year, moving forward, and, you know, I certainly appreciate it. There's a few more places I have to hit up to get everybody on board, just everybody doing their fair share.
Thank you.
Well, it's certainly a good program.
It's a good program.
It certainly is. I'm so glad to hear that it is up here now. Really.
And that's, yeah, it's nice to have it. It's nice when somebody calls us, like she was saying, there's people dealing, it's like, okay, and, you know, now we have a plan that we can do it. So, here, Chief Anderson, how many of the undercover agents' phone numbers do you have in your cell phone?
All 4 of them.
Okay. You know, so that's.
And Todd, to your question, Julie, similar situation's already been coming up in the village, so I've been working with Upset already. Upset isn't not gonna work with us regardless of the pledge amount. Their dedication is to this area, you know, and to the other counties as well. So, you know, with all that, obviously, I think we have time to approach, you know, and deal with it accordingly.
Well, like your friend or neighbor or whatever, and I'm glad we live in here now, but that's part of the reason why I moved.
Yeah, people.
And all the
Yeah.
upset is.
They're calling us as law enforcement to address those problems, and this is how we're addressing them. So.
Is there any connection between marijuana and opiates?
You know, like the old, you know, what do most people start with? You know, it used to be almost every, used to say whoever did heroin without starting with marijuana. Now there is correlation with, they're tied in a lot of times when you have the marijuana dealers, they have other drugs too. But it's really the Vicodin and the opiate. It's a whole new monster. Like I said, in the 60s, whenever it's the psychedelic 60s, there was like 6,000 people overdosed and about 30,000 died of car accidents, okay? In 1995, we were doing the cocaine in the 80s, it was around 10,000 people overdosing, okay? And 40,000 died of car accidents. Now, it's 52,000. I mean, that's just been, you know, in places like Ohio and Pennsylvania are just riddled with it. And it's that opiate dependency out there. So there is some correlation, but a lot of them just start right on the pain pills.
Yeah.
And not to mention that those meth labs blow up how often, you know, we won't even go into this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're gonna take a real good look at this because it's our responsibility.
Yes.
You know, as
Well, you
citizens
were there,
stable,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I've seen a lot of it just like you have and it's, you
It
know,
ruins people's
it
lives.
really ruins people's lives, yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, this is, I mean, this is a cop country, we can protect this area, you know. You're not coming here unless you're lost. So we're not a food destination, so we can protect it.
Great. Well, thanks, John.
All right.
How many times, I have a question for you. How many times a day are you on TV? Because I've had my fill.
I do all the legwork to get this program started, and the Portage Health Foundation wanted somebody to do a commercial.
It's gotta
for
be 20 times a
Well,
day.
yeah. Anyways, so, but anyways, that was that. So those other guys look like Billy Badass with their hair grown out, and I'm walking down, smiling. So yeah, I get a lot of razzing.
I bet you do. I just wanted to put it
I-
much.
She
I
just
wanted to add a little more.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. John, that was a good presentation. That was awesome.
Thank you much. I appreciate
Yeah, thanks for
everything. I am.
Yeah, have a good night, Steve.
I'm gonna follow Steve out. Maybe I'll just. Okay. And I'll leave this with you.
All right, so Keith, you finished your report, do you have anything that you want to add?
Not at this point.
Okay, then is there a motion to accept the police department report?
I make a motion to accept the police department report.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and then Public Safety Committee.
Yeah, we met yesterday, at 11 in the morning. Chief Anderson wanted to go over a few things with us, so you guys don't have a copy of this in your packet, but, you know, if you want a copy, you can certainly have a copy. I've given one to our clerk. You know, we were discussing, part-time officers. our chief has come up with some possibilities, so then we had to discuss what the part-time pay should be. He looked around all the other jurisdictions, and there's only one jurisdiction, and it's Lakeland, that pays $16 an hour. All other jurisdictions pay more than that. So, you know, it was his feeling that his budget could support a $17 an hour target. And the reason he felt that way is the budget could support it, and you're not gonna get people to work if they can go to other places and be making $18.50 and more an hour. And we need some part-time help there. So, we've gotta be competitive, we've gotta get good people, and he's got some people, on board there.
Do you want to make a motion then to authorize 17 an hour?
Right. Do you want me to finish this first, or do you want to do that?
It's up to you.
Okay, I'll make a motion that, in order to get competent, competitive, part-timers, so I'll make a motion that we pay our part-time officers $17 an hour, and Chief Anderson will, make sure that it fits in his budget. That'll be his responsibility.
Okay, so there's a motion to pay 17 an hour. Is there a second?
No, sir.
Jim? Okay.
Does that include our former chief?
Yes.
If he stays on as a part-time?
Any part-time.
Any
employee.
part-time,
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
so,
making $2 less an hour.
He's part-time, but not the chief of employees, so there's a difference.
all right, so we have a motion for $17 per hour. Is there any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call. So Jim? Sandy?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Burge?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes. How many part-timers do you think you'd need, or for how many hours are you looking
Well,
at?
okay, the numbers of, we went over the numbers at 40 hours a week for part-time coverage to keep the same coverage as we have in the past, so that's what we're looking at right now. As far as officers, that number can range, obviously, with availability. Gene so far is the best availability to some extent. Just hired a new part-timer today, actually, so we did all the paperwork, got that stuff taken care of today, so we're looking at seeing, that's Mr. Robert Harry. He works, he's a full-time police officer at Michigan Tech, public safety.
Alcohol certified?
Correct, he has some experience. He worked with Fairfield County Sheriff's Office as well for some time, so he's a younger guy. I think he's around 24, 25, so he should be a good proactive police officer for the village, good character. He's a really good guy, and I think that's where we're at this point. And then Betsy Nico also, she had worked here in the past. She's looking at coming back on a limited basis as well. She goes, I really only need a set of keys. Can you get me a set of keys to come back? So that was something I think we can work out with.
So you're within your budget, you're just asking.
Like I said,
the
I
rate
think-
to pay for a part-timer.
Correct, and then obviously as far as the Mona police officers, I think in the past it's ranged from probably, one rate, two today, but in the past it's ranged from 3 to 5 part-time officers. I don't know that I'm looking at a set number with the part-time, just looking at it, well, we can have the coverage that we're trying to do for the village.
Who was the last one you just said? Keith?
Betsy Nico, she had worked here
She worked here before,
a number of years.
Patsy Hinkle?
Betsy.
Betsy Hinkle.
all these part-timers you're looking at, just to let you know, are all working elsewhere, so they're all certified.
Yeah.
Correct. At this point, yeah.
And before we keep discussing, can we just finish the vote? I'm an aye.
Sorry.
Okay, so now go on.
We excluded you.
Yeah.
The patience, the displays, that's pretty awesome.
Okay, so anything else?
Well, the other things we discussed too, these part-timers like Betsy that he's talking about has worked here before. She should have there should be uniforms that are gonna fit some of these people, but there are gonna be times where somebody's gonna need a shirt or a pair of pants or whatever, and we'll leave that up to our chief, because we don't want them, to be out there without uniforms, obviously. He's gonna take care of all the legalities of the hiring, with clothes, everything like that. Also, we talked about a need for, and I think we did this with Steve Kello too, a need for a department credit card. Now, before the village credit card had a person's name on it and they were responsible for it, you know, times have changed when you need to order things. They're not, companies are not just willing to send you stuff and then send you a bill. You know, just about every place now wants you to put on a credit card. Now, have we gone to the bank yet to address that credit card?
I found that information
Okay.
out yesterday.
Okay.
I called the bank and.
Is this Superior?
No, this was River Valley. That's
River
where the
Valley,
other
okay.
one was, so I spoke to them. My note, right here. Okay, you can, whoever we're gonna want as the authorized person to be labeled on there with Calumet Village, they're the ones that will have to call and do these changes. We can set up where, say Steve has a card, Joe or you, our police department, they will issue a credit card in their name also. So what they said we can do, and I have the phone number for us to call, we can set limits on each one of those credit cards. So if you want to say, okay, you're only gonna have a couple $100 that you're authorized to purchase, we can do that. So personally, I believe we should set limits, but like Steve, of course, his purchases might be more, so his possibly should be higher. And what they would need for whoever's gonna have a card, they have to have their social security number and date of birth. Who will be issued the credit card that will be given to the bank.
Do we have to give them a list of who we are going to allow to call, or
Yeah.
just, okay,
Yeah.
we'll be doing that?
That's
So-
why they said, whoever is gonna have a card will have, we have to have their social security number and birthday on top of.
Okay, and what kind of limit are we looking at here? Because I don't know if you get much for $200 if you're ordering, like, say,
I just threw $200
Yeah.
out, I know that, so.
what was it before on the credit card? Do
I
we
don't
have
know,
any?
we'd have to look.
Yeah, because I don't even know if we had any policy on our credit card.
I'm sure we did, I suspect we have.
Because
You know-
we did the procedure, we adopted the procedures, so we had to do that first before we could do the credit cards. So we did that in March, that we used.
Okay,
So
and do we know what the limit is, Joe? Is there any limit on our credit card now?
can I suggest that we go to our department heads who are gonna have that and ask them what they believe? Because I think Steve is gone already.
You would need
He
more.
would need
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Even if you say, I don't care if it's $1,000 or $500. But Steve, you know, when he's purchasing parts for a grader, that can be thousands of dollars.
Mhm.
So, that's the information I have.
No, and I think that's a good idea to go back to department heads and ask what is, yeah, because I suspect police is different than streets.
Is there a limit to, you know, that we want to put?
I think we should have the
Do
committee
that first.
decide what they think is
But that's
reasonable.
another month, so that's the problem. You should-
No, but because Joe can call the bank and get that started with all the information that we can decide what to do there. We start there, if we have to put it through committee, we'll put it through committee, and if we have to have a quick meeting to do that, if they absolutely need that card before
You know
next
what we could
month.
do right now, just do say blanket 500 for all three, and then just change the limits. I assume the banks allow us to do the limits if you want to do them
Yeah.
right away.
Okay, let's do that then.
Yeah.
Can I add my input?
Sure,
before
yeah.
we make that? Looking at like the ammo purchases, I got a Bible that's over $500, like a vest is over $500. So if we go ahead with this, can we at least just set it for $1,000 right now? Just so if I have to make a purchase, because I mean, these guys, I mean, as far as the committee goes, obviously I'm addressing anything that's around $500 or more to the committee. There's nothing that I haven't, and really, in fact, I think I will pretty much going to be addressing most purchases to the committee, you know, within reason. So I would ask that if we could be at 1,000 for right now, and if there's a need to go lower or whatever, but I think 1,000 would kind of keep us able to keep moving forward. I mean, it's going to
long as you have committee approval.
Right, I think that, as far as spending beyond
Yeah.
anything further, obviously I would, approach the committee.
No, we don't want using credit cards to become the way items are ordered. There's fees associated with credit cards.
But
And that's.
90% of companies anymore, if you're calling on the phone, you need a credit card.
Yeah, they will not bill us anymore. The only one that I know, like, that
Something for
is
the office.
balls and uniforms, they still do that for police departments, but most places don't do that anymore. You gotta have a credit card to order anything.
That's
City
right,
Hall had one, and then they canceled it because it got out of control. So we really have to have the committee overseeing it so it doesn't get into excessive spending.
I think we have to put enough trust in our department heads to do the right thing when it comes to committees. If he needs ammo that's more than that, you can get a good deal on something that's $600, and you can come to us, and we gotta put some trust in sure.
Yeah.
And they all have a budget, they know what they're
But if
confined.
they can come to a regular council meeting and we cut a check, then why get into the credit card?
But they won't, a lot of these places will not.
Right,
bill
if they
us.
won't, then that's why we're allowing credit card.
Right.
Okay, so can we make a motion to do that?
Right. To get 3 credit cards,
Yes,
correct? Okay,
it was a limit of $1,000.
okay.
Excuse me, do you need one too, like for
No.
anything?
No.
Okay.
No,
All right.
no, absolutely not. No, anything, I mean, frankly, I don't need anything. So, I mean, the only thing that I ever needed are office materials, so
Okay.
And we'll start there with the
Yeah.
minimum,
Right.
like a max of 1,000,
Right.
and we'll talk to Steve to see what he thinks his average is.
Yeah, we might have to up his a little bit.
So that would be the administrator and our police department and the street department.
Correct.
Yes, those
Okay.
three.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion
I'll make a
to
motion.
obtain credit cards with a limit up to $1,000. Sandy, you made that motion, is there a
Yeah.
second?
I'll
I
second.
have one question.
Yeah.
Is that $1,000, is that for this account, is this one account?
It's one account,
So the limit,
but the credit card,
Each one will get
but
set.
if we have 3 people with one account and 3 credit cards, and somebody, he wants $600 and Steve wants $700, now there's not enough money in there.
But yeah, is it
No.
based cumulatively? There's a total of
You
$3,000.
want $3,000
credit.
total for the account.
Yeah.
Right, so each card has a limit.
Okay.
Each part of it.
Because
well,
have
the
the name
max
on
for,
it.
the max for the card before was, but the max.
Right, but I think the idea is we would want $1,000 on each card,
Yeah.
for that reason.
Yeah,
right?
there's a limit for what they can
Per
purchase
card, per card.
per card,
Yeah.
Because it's
at
not
one
per-
time,
Not per the account.
not for the account.
Maybe is this opening up a can of worms, let's say and this is just.
But if you
cut
can
off.
get
Like
an
say I
invoice,
ordered
Get
ammo,
invoice.
right, but you ordered ammo, you pay for it, the next day you need is and then say you're over the $1,000, I guess it's, how are we defining what the limit is and at what?
Right, because that would be a month.
That's what I'm getting at, and, obviously,
Jail.
yeah, so, I mean, my approach still is gonna be to, like I said, within reason, we had said before, I think the council or the committee had said, $500 or more, we'd like you to at least address us before you make the purchase. So that's why I addressed a couple of the things, but still moving forward, I'm gonna address just about, other than some of the smaller day-to-day purchases, I'm going to, pretty much up front. So I think, I don't know how the 1,000, I guess, I don't know if that's a good question, but.
Yeah, I don't know the answer. I mean, I don't feel real comfortable saying going with a $5,000 limit.
No, and I'm not even asking for, that's not what I'm asking for, I'm just saying, hopefully it's not a tie your hands situation, because obviously.
how would you, this is just a question, how would Steve do it when he would order parts and they were over $1,000? How would he do
I
that?
think in most cases, he's got relationships where people will ship without
The
without a
credit card.
credit card, yeah.
But he told me also that
It's not
that
that easy.
he
He
can't,
had Rob order for him,
Mhm.
so Rob must have had
yeah,
a higher limit.
There probably was no limit.
No,
um,
Well, you know, what, we could solve the problem very easily. This is not gonna happen very often, but if it does happen, where say you have 2 items and it's not gonna be paid within the month, you could go to our administrator and say, look, you use your card, but it'll come out of the police budget. It's, you know, if he hasn't hit his limit or whatever.
Well, I don't think we can
I
commingle funds.
I just think that
Well, then, do we
if
have
they,
time or
if they use the card to notify us, somebody
I mean,
would.
and I think whoever oversees the card should obviously, you want to probably, I know where I checked our work before, the calling guy that, at REL where I worked previously, there was probably 15 credit cards throughout the company, and he called every single morning, check for unauthorized transactions, so he basically knew every single day where the accounts were standing. So I think obviously moving forward, how we're going to practice, I think similarly, we can somehow be keeping tabs on everything and keep our checks and balances in place.
Well, again, maybe we do the card, $1,000 limit, but then let's get back to River Valley and say, okay, is there someone that the council can designate to override that limit if
Absolutely.
appropriate? And that's probably true, that we can do
That's
that.
fine.
So,
Good idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
So again, this'll get this
You can ask
started.
them that with that phone
Yeah.
number.
Mhm. So this'll get this
If
started.
you want me to do it, I can do it, but
I think Don is, it sounds like we're going back to $1,000 per card, which is not, it's a total,
3,000.
it's
Yeah,
3,000 total.
yeah. Each of you would have a limit of 1,000.
Right.
Yeah, not
You can tell
combined.
them, because they're gonna be separate cards.
Right.
But we're
Yeah.
not.
Well, no, he just wants clarification though. I
Right.
mean, that it's not, that it is not, that it's
I'm
cumulative.
sure most cards.
Okay.
And then
All right.
on the monthly,
Just tell you what
credit card limits,
Yeah.
include it.
Well,
And
we're gonna
I'm
be
sure
sure
there's
to
a lot more
of
than.
that. You know, we gotta have a starting point, we can modify as we go.
Okay, so we have a motion that has been made by Sandy.
I did
Virgil
second it.
did second it, okay. And this is going to have to be a roll call. So Jim, Sandy,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Virg,
Yes.
Peggy,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, so,
If
okay.
it's allowable, I'm not sure, we haven't had time to read up on them, but
Everybody says that. I've got a couple more items on the public safety, committee here. One of the issues that we have, and the chief's brought it to our attention, is, the locks on the doors at the police department were changed, and they were changed to just like locks you put in at your home. They're not secure locks. Chief Anderson, it seems to think, and I do too, that we need a security lock on that door for sure. It goes outside. You can't just have a lock where you gotta turn the little thing or whatever. It should be a lock where you, when you go out, it just automatically locks you, you need a key to get back in. It needs to be a security lock. Did you bring that piece of paper? We even asked them to look into what the cost would be for a door with a security lock. And it was like so ridiculous, I don't even want to repeat it. It was like $5,000 something, and it's like, is it gold lined? What's with this door? So we are not even taking that seriously. But we do need to get, a secure lock on that, because otherwise, if you work in police work, every time you go out a secure door, you're used to just, opening the door and going out and not locking it because it automatically locks and you use your key to get back in again. Have you got any quotes or talked to anybody yet?
I'm not
about
since
Okay.
we met
So
yesterday.
I would like you to look into some quotes and bring that back for the committee because, that's a big deal. Also, and I don't have it on here, but he also talked about when you're working the night shift, there's the 2 doors. And if somebody comes and knocks on the door, there's no outside light out there, so you can't see who's standing by the door.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that something we could maybe just put a simple light on that could, that could be on at night, just any kind of a simple light, right?
Correct, just kind of illuminate the outside.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Because it's light inside, dark outside, you can see nothing.
Have an electrician
Yeah.
look at it and figure
I
out.
mean, you're basically blind going to the door at night, and I feel like for the safety of the people, we should be able to do it.
Right.
I'd like to put even like a one-way, probably not glass, but some kind of a transparent, so people would see the reflection, they don't even see us approaching the door. I think for safety reasons, you just never know, and obviously it's been taken to police departments that, the bad things and danger has been brought to police departments nowadays, so.
No, it's fine.
Is there some kind of a film you can buy too that you can put on the?
That's what I was saying, maybe
Yeah.
not necessarily a glass, but
Yeah.
something that, you know, a reflective film that.
So he'll look into that, I guess. Another thing that, we talked about too is, because this building is a historic building and it's part of the downtown district, is it possible that maybe the DDA could finance some of the upgrades to the police department over there, like lights and?
I don't know if that would be, I don't know that that would be appropriate. I mean, it has to promote business within the district, so.
Okay, it has to be business, period?
Yeah.
Then how are they paying for the greater?
No, it has to promote business within the,
Promote
well,
business?
keeping our
Promote
streets,
business.
keeping our streets free of snow does promote business.
Yeah.
I don't know, we can ask. That's
Yeah,
all
we
we can
can
say
ask
is we can
because-
ask.
Because, police work is part of the whole,
Safety for the downtown.
yeah, the greater gets rid of the snow, he gets rid of the crime. I mean, it's the same, I look at it as the same thing, but we'll check with them. And I guess that's all I have.
All right, any questions for Verge?
Okay, I make a motion, we approve the public safety.
I second it.
That's Peggy and Sharon. Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, Joel, fire.
So my apologies for not getting back to the office here sooner. Here's the fire report for the month of April.
You didn't have to wear a suit.
Right.
Well, you was nice.
That's okay.
Yes, was professional. Love it.
You did have to put this in here, didn't you?
I did.
That part of it.
So as you see, we have one call for the month on 9th Street for smell of smoke / furnace issues. We were called out at 6:15 a.m. Got a hold of the furnace repairman, and we were back here at the hall at 6:50. I also, Station 80 out of Medani Regional Dispatch is kind of upgrading their systems, allowing us to receive text messages for our fire calls. So it was kind of like a 3-month process, getting everyone's number on a list. I went ahead and got that down to the Houghton, Keweenaw County 911 supervisor last week. We went ahead and submitted the list over to Medani Regional Dispatch. So hopefully they put the numbers in, and we just kind of wait for a call to see if it works. It'll be beneficial for some people who don't carry their pagers at work because they can't. So more or less just kind of upgrading how we get paged out.
Are there more columns in the winter months than in the summer, or is it hard?
It's hard to, with natural gas being put in houses now, you're not seeing, I mean, back in the day, we were getting more chimney fires, structure fires from the chimneys. So with natural gas, it's kind of lessened our call volume, but to each their own.
Any questions? All right, if not, is there a motion to accept the fire department report?
Before you leave, are we paying you twice a year now? Is that working out for you? You're
We went to once a year.
once a year?
Once a year, I believe, it's either the month of June or the month of July.